Get this. Okay, perfect. So my name is Lauren. I am the success coach here at Inside Real, or a success coach, I should say, not the. Here at Inside Real Estate, I am the success coach for your account here at Inside Real Estate as well, using the kvCORE product. So remember my name; it might come up in the future. I'm going to be taking you through today's beginner level kvCORE training. This is going to give you a floor plan to navigate your dashboard, find important basic functions, and allow you to kind of get a feel for how everything is set up. We're not going to dive into every tool and function of kvCORE. More will be addressed on the intermediate and advanced level trainings. And today's webinar is recorded, so if you want to go back over it, you will have access to do that as well. Just go to the admin for your account, as I will be sending them the recording. I'm going to go ahead and get started sharing my screen. A few housekeeping items as I set this up. I just want to remind everyone to keep themselves on mute and not accidentally share their screen. I know the buttons are kind of close together, especially if you're using a mobile device, so just be careful of that. Everyone should now be seeing my screen. This is my test kvCORE account that I'll be using to navigate you around with today's training. The first items that I want to point out are the training resources. So you have this today's training and the recording that goes along with it. You will also have access to the intermediate and advanced live webinars as well as the trainings, the recorded session. But you do also, on top of all of that, have kvCORE's training and support resources. So in your account, everyone will come down to the bottom left and see this open training link. When you open it, it's going to present you with a list of what we call walk me trainers that literally walk you through setting up certain things like your profile, creating a test lead, tweaking your website, things like that. They also, this launch section also has a help section so that you can quickly go to certain items. And it also tracks your progress. So you will know when you've completed it or if you have any arrows in blue that you still need to complete. So after you go through those walk me trainers, they're around 1 to 3 minutes. You can come up here to our top 10 training series. And this list of 10 actually expounds on higher level ideas and concepts of using kvCORE with your business. It's going to explain how to use kvCORE to convert your leads, how to bring them back to life with CPR, how to leverage listings, hashtags, and things like that. So definitely watch these. They do run a little bit longer, maybe 7 to 9 minutes, but it's definitely worth watching them. Then down here at the bottom of your columns list on the left, you will also have this Help Resources tab. Ignore the Super Admin, that's just something internal that we have on our side, but you will have this Help Resources tab. And this is actually going to take you to our online knowledge base in a separate tab. This knowledge base contains more training resources and support options like videos and articles. The articles will have little GIFs to show you what exactly the action looks like that you need to take and things like that. If for whatever reason you can't find the information that you're looking for, the answer to your question doesn't seem to exist anywhere, or you're having a problem and nothing is addressing it, you can come down here to the bottom right to this Chat with an Expert tab, fill out your information, and then you will be connected to a live chat representative that is kvCORE specific. Our support team is made up of different reps with different product levels and knowledge levels. You will be connected to the kvCORE specific reps, and they will be able to assist you with finding out your answers or troubleshooting any issues that you may seem to be having. Also, just a quick side note, the support team through chat and then also through our email, we have kvCORE@insiderealestate.com. They're more for support to answer one-off questions, troubleshoot issues, or anything technical. They're not another quote-unquote training avenue, so they won't be able to set up one-on-one trainings with you. They won't be able to guide you through every single step of like all the tools or functions, but they will be there as a backup. If we don't have any of the resources that you need available, they will take that feedback and they will send it along to the appropriate party, most likely our knowledge director, who will be able to create that content and put it on our online knowledge base, or perhaps a new video in the Walk Me or the Top 10. And that way we can expound upon the information we have to assist you and other agents. So definitely take advantage of those. Those options are all going to follow you around for the most part as you work through your account. The page that we're on specifically right now is called the dashboard, and you can locate it by coming up here to the top left and clicking on the dashboard tab. This is your home page. This is your activity center. This is going to show you all of the actions that your contacts have taken. It's also going to show you your calls and tasks that are due that day, that are past due, that are upcoming, and it will allow you to communicate with your contacts straight from this page. So right here is your activity stream. Along with this activity tab, you can easily get back to it. Every visitor that goes to your website, every registered lead, I should say, that takes an action such as requesting a showing, questions, signing up as a new lead, any hot behaviors that we track for them, this is all going to show up, and they'll each have their own activity box or tile in this stream. You'll notice that you are able to answer a question, respond to a showing, or call, email, and text a lead straight from this page off of each specific tile. Also, if you click on the lead's name, it's going to pop up with their lead record so that you can preview any information and follow up with them via their record if you wish. You're also able to filter for specific activity. So in this options drop-down list, you can filter quickly for any questions you might need to respond to, showing requests, track any new leads that have shown up, things like that. And this will update with your inbound activity in this box right here each day that you come in. So anything new will get tracked and this number will change throughout the day. And you'll see all of your activity first at a glance. So you'll probably spend 5 to 10% of your time going over this home page, looking at today's summary, seeing what calls or tasks you have to do. So clicking on this tab down here, or even the box will get you there as well. You'll be able to see your past due, due today, and upcoming calls and tasks. You're able to easily snooze or call the lead. And same with tasks, you'll have a snooze or a done option as well. For calls, if you do click this call option here, you'll be presented with a box with two options, either to call them through the dashboard, through the account, or log a call. So if you have a call to make and you click that call button, it's going to pull up the lead's record with the information and list any phone numbers that they have down here. You would choose a number if there's more than one and click call. Once you click this call button, it's going to connect firstly with the phone number in your profile. And once you pick up your phone that's ringing with the smart number, then it will connect you with the lead that you're trying to call. Doing it this way versus just calling straight from your cell or your office phone number is going to allow the system to track that call and to log it with a date and a timestamp in the leads, associated leads record. If the admin for the company officer team, whatever smart number level that you're under, has set the settings for that smart number to record calls, you will actually be able to call through the system, and the system will record and log a transcript record for that call in the leads record for after you've finished the conversation. So you'd want to check with your admin or your account owner to see what the smart number settings are set up for, whether to record or not record. But if they are set, there is just one more additional reason to use the dashboard so that you can record the call and not just log it with a day and a timestamp. You also have the option to log a call. So if you didn't have access to using the dashboard to call the lead, or you had to call them just real quickly and you did your cell phone or your office phone number and didn't even think about using it, that's fine. You can log it and it will time and date stamp it in the lead's record. If you called them, you can click contacted, not home or bad number to show or indicate how the conversation went, or if it went at all. If you choose bad number, it is going to remove the phone number from the lead's profile. So just keep that in mind. The timeline will still contain the phone number for future use or reference, but the actual profile, it will have it removed from the main phone number field, and unless you replace it with a better or correct phone number, the lead will no longer show up on a list of calls to make for that day because they don't have a valid phone number. If a lead calls you, you're able to log the call and put in some notes about your conversation, and once you save it, it all date and timestamps it on that lead's record. Also, if you click call from this section, it will automatically log it and mark it done for you. Same idea with tasks. If you have a task to do, it will give you a snooze option and a done button, so that once you have completed the task, you can mark it done. If you snooze a call or a task, it's just going to push it to the next day, and it will show up on the next day's reminder email letting you know you have something to do or a call to make. This toolbar up here at the top will follow you around on each page that you go to in your account. And under quick actions, there's a couple of different items that you're able to quickly access and do, such as adding a call and adding a task. Adding a task is very straightforward. You associate it with a lead. You enter in a title and details about what the task needs to, or what about the task needs to be done. You fill out a date and a time, and then it will automatically be logged in that lead's record. Under add call, you have another option. Just real quick. Under adding a call, you have the call now and the log call tabs, and you also have schedule a call option now too. So in addition to the other two we went over, if you need to schedule a call to be done in the future and to show up on your calls to make list, then you are able to choose a contact name, add a reminder or a note of what you need to talk to them about, enter in a date and a time. If you are using a Gmail account or a G Suite account for your email address with kvCORE, you can sync to your Google Calendar. And you're also able to set repeating calls. So if you need to remind yourself to call a lead once a week or maybe once a month to remind them to fill out a form or just check in with them, you can do so. And of course, that will show up in your calls section. Now, also along the top of this toolbar, you have this email icon, or this envelope icon. If you click on it when you first get into your account, it's going to pop up a box that asks you to sync either with a Google address or an Outlook address. So if you're using one of those, you can sync. It'll bring in your calendar, and it will allow the calls and tasks to be synced with your calendar as well. If you don't have a Google or an Outlook email address, that's okay. You can totally use it. It just won't sync as much as we can with Google or Outlook. And after you sync it, if it's Google or Outlook, we will also be able to pull in your emails from your inbox to display right here. So it's a quick little preview of any communications that are coming into you. The notifications icon to the right of it is going to display your list of calls and tasks to do. So if you are working in your Smart CRM with a particular lead and you just want to double check, did I already contact them? Do I have something scheduled for them, etc.? You can pop open this little notifications list. You're actually able to snooze, call, or mark a task done if it appears here. So you don't have to keep going back to the dashboard. We do make this available to you anywhere you are in your account. This little backwards clock icon shows you all of your recent activity going back a few months. So anytime you add a hashtag, mark a task, or complete a call, anytime you just go into a lead account, it's going to log it for you. So you don't have to remind yourself or try to remember on your own of whether you went and did that. This will log it for you. And then on the very top right-hand corner, it will display the email address that you have hooked up to your kvCORE account. If you click on it, it's going to show you a drop down that shows the smart number your account is associated with. It's going to show you your subdomain. So every time an agent is added to kvCORE by an admin, there will be, most of the time, there will be a website that is automatically populated, and a subdomain URL is generated for that for that agent as well. You'll see what it is right here. If you want to get to your website quickly without having to type it in or memorize it or anything, you can just click on this subdomain and it's going to link you out to your website immediately. But I'm going to focus down here in the My Profile section. So if you want to get to your profile section, you'll click the drop down on the top right and click My Profile. And this will show you all the information that is showing on your website. So if I click this Edit button, it's going to turn everything into an editable format on the left-hand side. You'll be able to update your picture, your name, your contact info down here, as well as put in any links to your social media platforms, and your MLS ID here. Definitely suggest to fill out your MLS ID. This is going to allow us to pull in your properties. So if I go to my website, and it's not going to let me because I'm using a test account. Let me see if I can just go to it. Here we go. I have a standalone website. It's not hooked up because I'm just using a test. Here we go. So this is what the website might look when it's originally created for you. You do have some options to tweak it, which I go over in an intermediate and advanced level training. But over here on the top, underneath this agents, is this Our Listings button here. Or tab, I should say. So underneath agents, this Our Listings page, this is going to be automatically generated and defaulted for you when you're first added. This pulls into the page all of the listings that are underneath the brokerage or office that you're associated with. This is what it looks like, a list of nice properties. If you fill out your MLS ID field with your number, it's going to replace this page that says Our Listings with My Listings, and it's going to show in this page all of the properties that you have underneath you in the MLS. So you can take this unique URL, market it out anywhere, show people how to navigate to it, things like that. So you will have this page populated for you once you fill out this field. Also, something else that I recommend to fill out is this license number field. Even if your MLS or state doesn't require it, it's better to have it than not because it garners more trust from visitors to your website. A lot of people look for license numbers, even if they don't really know what you're licensed for, and it's going to give you just that one extra leg up across everyone else who might have a real estate website but doesn't have their phone number or their license number or contact info. So you definitely want to make sure that everyone who visits your site knows you're a real person that is a real realtor and has all the access and authorization that you need. At the bottom, you also have your biography option here in your profile, as well as a signature box. The signature box does not have to be filled out. It can stay blank. We do have a default signature created for you within the system that we'll send out with each email that we send. But if you do have a customized signature with fancy fonts, images, links, icons, buttons, things like that, you can stick it in here. It does work with source code, so if you have HTML for your signature that was set up for you, you can plug it in here. And just remember to scroll back up and click Save. Otherwise, everything will be for nothing because it won't show up. Over here in the Actions drop-down, you'll just have the option to change your password if you need to. And then if you click on this little gear icon, it's going to show you a box that is going to give you even more settings. So at the very top, you'll be able to place yourself in and out of vacation. What this means is that you won't be notified about new leads, calls, or tasks to do. You won't receive anything from the lead rotation of the office or team that you're under, but you still will receive leads coming in from your subdomain and from any outside sources you've hooked up with kvCORE. So we don't prevent any leads coming to you from your own sources, but going on vacation will mark you out of lead distribution for any higher level settings for an office or a team that you might be under. Underneath daily call creation, these are settings that will allow you to have the system work for you. So part of our mantra of working smarter, not harder, is making the system work for you so you don't have to worry about making these lists and constantly touching these people and following up with them. Let the system do it for you. So it will be defaulted to auto-create 10 calls each day and send an email at 8 a.m. Your time. You are able to toggle this on or off. I would recommend to let the system create calls for you for your leads. You can choose whether or not you wish to work on weekends, which is Sunday and Saturday. You cannot choose just one or the other. The calls to make, you can lower it or raise it, and you can also change the time of day email that you wish to receive from the morning. One quick note about this number of calls to create number. This is a maximum limit number. So depending on how many contacts you have in your smart CRM, for instance, in my test account right now, I only have 43. So if I set this number to, even if it's just at 10, but if I set it higher, I'm going to hit that limit much faster than if I had a smaller amount of leads to call, like 3 or 5. So if the number of calls that the system generates for you every morning is less than this number, it's not necessarily broken. It's just because you've either already communicated with the lead before and the system is realizing that per your notes that are logged, or the lead has generated hasn't generated enough activity to prompt a call just yet. So definitely work with the system and log everything that you've been doing so that it doesn't prompt you to contact someone that you've already been in communication with. And then down here at the bottom is the holiday section, and it works a little differently. The toggles work a little differently than the rest of them, so I'm going to reiterate it a couple of times. This is showing all of the holidays that I am working currently. So in the holiday section, it's kind of an expansion of vacation. Instead of just going on vacation for any number of days, I can come in here and just automatically set and tell the system in advance what holidays I want to work and which ones I want to take off, if any. It's going to default to all of them toggled gray, which means I'm working those holidays. If I don't want to work any of the holidays, I have to toggle them blue to indicate I'm off. So it's a little backwards. But just make sure that if you want to be off on a particular holiday, it's blue, because gray means I'm working these. Same thing with vacation. It's going to stop your notifications, your calls and tasks to do, but you'll still receive new leads that are registering on your site and any outside sources. Let's see if there are any questions in the chat box. If you do have any questions as I go along each section, I will be pausing and circling back to the chat box that GoToMeeting allows you to have. It's either going to be in the toolbox on the left or right hand side of your screen. So just pop any questions in there. Looks like we have one. In the website section, is it showing my personal website or the kvCORE one? That's a great question. So up here on the top right, this subdomain right here, this is kvCORE. So clicking on this took me to my website here that kvCORE generated for me and built for me. You are able to tweak it and change some settings, but this website and domain is from kvCORE. If you're using a personal domain name, there are some options that I go over in the intermediate level, but if you want to find that out sooner rather than later, you can contact support and ask them about personal domain options. Domains and websites are different, just real quick. Domain is the URL that you type into the address bar, so this is a domain. The website is the actual page or pages that display on that subdomain. So what we're looking at right here is the actual site. The domain is what appears in the address bar. You cannot use a personal site with kvCORE, so you can't build your own website pages and replace this, but you are able to replace the domain. So if you wish to use your personal domain, you'll be able to access help with support. And you will also be able to access this recorded version of this webinar later as well. Oh, I see. I apologize. So the question, the question was about in the profile section, in the website section. Oops, let me get back here. When you first come in here and click edit, I'm assuming that this is the field that you're talking about, this website field. This is going to be blank. None of these fields actually autofill for you. I put in the website to my kvCORE site in here. This doesn't show on your website. It doesn't show anywhere. So if you have a personal website, you can put it in here. If you want to have a quick link or a reminder to a different website or to the broker website or anywhere else, you can plug it in here. But when you come in here, most of the fields are going to be empty. So this website field isn't going to fill out with anything. Sorry about that. Okay, no further questions. So I'm going to move right along to the Smart CRM. So it's the second tab over on the left in the columns. And this is where all of your leads live. So this will show you all of your contacts. It's going to allow you to view any information that you need to and jump into any lead record. When you first get here, you are able to change the table right here of leads and their data to view whatever you need to. So first, over here in rows, you can decide how many leads per page you wish to see. And under columns, you can toggle the column data columns on or off. So if I don't care about how they were captured, when they were created, who they're owned by, the source, anything I don't want to see, I can toggle off, and you'll see the table get bigger and bigger as the information displays or doesn't display as I'm setting it. So once you have the table showing everything that you want or don't want it to show, you can come up here to the top and perform some mass actions. So you're able to mass email, mass text. Either you can choose one-off leads by clicking on these boxes over here, or you can click on this main box and it'll check all of the lists on the page. Mass email, mass text. If you're trying to email or text all of your leads, you'll want to filter the rows to 100 so that you can do 100 per page. Or you can click on more actions and choose any of these to do. So you can add tasks or hashtags. You can change multiple lead statuses. You can transfer or share them. Transfer is giving them completely to another agent so that they end up owning them. Sharing them means that you still own the contact, but the other agent is able to see their record in their Smart CRM list and can work them with you. You're also able to add a campaign to leads in mass and archive and delete them. I point this out and I pause and explain this a little further in detail because archiving and deleting are similar, but they are definitely not the same. Archiving contacts was our original answer to being able to delete them. So we had a lot of feedback from agents that said, I want to be able to completely remove contacts from my system because they're fake or bad or they're old and I don't want to work with them. So we created its own status for archive. So if we come down here to status, you'll be able to change them to archived. And then it will be removed. If you archive or change the status to archive, you can come over here to filter and you can filter by that status. So you will be able to, if in the future you need to, access an archive lead again. If you delete them completely, you will not be able to access any of their information ever again. We technically call it a soft delete on our side because if we have to, the engineers do have a way of finding the data and restoring it for you. However, it's a very arduous and long task for them to do, and it does come at a cost by the agent. It is a $200 fee to restore deleted data, regardless of how many contacts we are restoring for you. It's never been waived, and the fee, we have no plans on waiving the fee. So if you have to delete someone or you think you want to, my suggestion is just to use the archive status so that you can go back if you need to in the future. If you delete them, they're gone forever. Then here at the bottom, you have this export contacts option, and we put a little line here because it works off of different logic. So with all of the rest of the mass actions, you can choose the leads that you wish to do that action on. If you export them, it's going to export the full list of leads from your Smart CRM. It's not going to ignore or add anyone if you've checked off 5. It's not going to just limit those 5. It's going to give you your whole Smart CRM. So if you have to filter for some reason for specific leads to archive, you would have to do that in the Excel file after it's downloaded because it's going to always give you a full list of your leads. This is a great way to send out mailers if you wish to do that. Right now, there's no way in kvCORE to send out a mailer or create a label for mailing. We do have that on our roadmap to consider a functionality that will assist with that later down on the road. But right now, the functionality doesn't exist. So you would want to export your leads into an Excel file, and then you can quickly filter within Excel for leads with addresses, and then go from there. If we jump into a leads record, I'm just going to search for one real quick. This is what the record would look like. It's split up into 3 different sections, so I'm going to move left to right. The left-hand column is all of the data, all of the information that we could find on a lead or that the lead provided you with. So up here is their name, which you can edit. You'll have their star rating and their status and deal type, which if you click on it, you'll be able to edit that as well. It will give you some stats about the visitor, your phone number or their phone number that you are able to trigger a call or a text from, provide you their email address, which is editable. And I choose Tatiana for a reason because she came in as a tracked call. She's a phone lead, and the system recognized that and gave her a temporary @kvleads.com address with her phone number. So if you ever see that, definitely follow up with them and make sure you get a valid email address so that you can put them on smart campaigns, send out listing alerts, generally communicate with them via email. You do have this section right here. This field will show you whether or not they have search alerts set up. You can add, edit, or remove hashtags. You'll be able to add or remove smart campaigns. And yes, you do have the option to add multiple campaigns to a lead, but I would caution against this because if you're not extremely careful about the way the smart campaigns are set up and their schedule that they send touches out on, you might end up giving a lead 2 or 3 different campaigns that have 5 touches in one day, which you don't want to do because it will annoy them, and then Tatiana would end up unsubscribing and I would lose her. So just be cautious about that. The summary section down here is static. It will not update with any new information. It's always going to show you what the lead came in with originally. And this more detailed section contains all the other info you might possibly need. More contact information, home preferences, if they have a lender, if they have a mailing address, their source, and then all of this extra information down here at the bottom. So their spouse information, social media links, second email address, website, stuff like that. So we try to give you one place to hold all the information that you need for each lead. Now, the middle section of the record is what we call the leads timeline. It's going to show you every single thing that has ever been logged for each lead. And we do try to log everything for you as long as it's done through the system or the mobile app that we have for you. So any text messages or emails that are sent back and forth between you and the lead, any calls checked off, any tasks completed, any notes, any property views. We also track listing alerts, or they're called search alerts, in here. So you'll be able to see the email that was sent out as well as the properties that it contained. Everything and anything is in here. So you have all the information that you need in order to follow up and nurture your leads. If you need to take some kind of action with the lead, over here on the right, you'll have all of your action items. So the top 4 are right here, all of the main ones that you would need to do. Underneath more actions, there's a drop down with more options, such as unsubscribing or subscribing, sharing, transferring, archive, delete, etc. You also have this option to find on social media and also communicate with them. Sorry, the box keeps disappearing. You are able to click on, for instance, find on Facebook, and it's going to take you to Facebook search option where you can use the lead's name, email, phone number, etc., and search for them via whatever platform you've clicked on. If there's any calls or tasks to do, you'll have access to that list as well. So this is going to show you the calls or tasks specific to this particular lead. It's not going to show you a list of every single thing you need to do. You're able to add or schedule a call, and any calls upcoming will show up in a separate box down here as well. So again, trying to make everything compact into one place for you so you don't need to update 3 different places, don't need to take 5 steps to do one thing. We want to make sure everything is within your grasp in one place and you don't have to look at multiple areas. Let's see if we have any questions about lead specific items. Nope, but we do have an export question. So going back to this Smart CRM list, can you load a CSV file of emails only with no names? So I'm going to answer that question in 2 different ways. One, you're able to upload and add leads with just emails to your Smart CRM. That's no problem. We can definitely upload those. You're also able to export them. If they have no name, it will show up as no name in the name column, and that's how they'll export as. So you have, depending on what you're trying to do, upload or export, the answer is yes. You can upload emails only, and you can download email only. It will come with all of the records information, but if there's no name or phone number, then obviously it won't be there to export for you. One quick note about Smart CRM, if you set a filter or if you search them, you'll notice that it's saved, even if you navigate away and come back. You will need to remove the search term or clear the filter in order for it to return you to your main list of contacts. So don't worry if you sign out and then a couple of hours later or the next day you log in and you had previously been searching for someone and now it's only showing you that person. The rest of your leads haven't disappeared. It's just that filter or that search is still there. Perfect. Okay, so there's no further questions. I'm going to mosey on down to the listings tab now. And this is going to show you a list of all of the properties that we are able to pull from your MLS via that IDX feed connection we have. Similar to Smart CRM, you are able to organize the table of data here by choosing how many rows you wish to see and what columns of data you wish to see as well. You can click on them and they'll be removed or added if you want to see it. You also have a couple of mass action items here. You can email or text a listing to one specific lead or to a group of leads in a specific hashtag. And if you jump into a listings detail page, you'll be able to see all of the information that comes through from the MLS. The note that I wanted to point out, though, is this More Actions button. So in an individual listings page, you're able to take many more actions. So besides just texting and emailing, you're able to generate a QR code, which is great for advertising, especially if you have printed marketing materials and you want special attention to be paid to this listing. Go ahead and get a QR code on there. It's great for any flyers that you have in your open house or available house. If you have a sign writer, you can get a QR code for the writer itself or just flyers attached to it. You can print out flyers in the first place, which I think are very well put together and nicely formatted, and they look especially nice if they're printed on glossy paper. If you choose Boost Property, this is going to take you to Facebook, and it's going to open up the ad wizard in Facebook and walk you through making an ad for this property. Or you can choose to post just a regular post on your timeline in any of these 4 platforms. Unfortunately, auto posting to Instagram is not available just yet. We do have it on our roadmap to look down in the future, but right now, the way the platform is built, they don't like auto posters. There are very, very few companies that are allowed to do that, and they've jumped through a lot of hoops in order to have that capability. Instagram was built and is managed now by Facebook in a way that they want the user to go in and manually create their content to create a more intimate feeling. So right now, these are the only auto post options available, but they definitely come in handy, especially if you use Facebook, Twitter, and Craigslist. So this is within the actual listings page. You have all of the information pulled from the MLS along with the status. So if you need to search any information, you can do so as well. This is also what shows up in a listings detail page on your website too. So if you click on this direct link, you'll be taken to the page on the front end of your website. Now we're going to jump into the Marketing Autopilot tab, the next one down. And the Marketing Autopilot and Lead Engine tabs, they can work in tandem, and they sometimes sound alike. And when I first was learning the kvCORE system, I was very confused because I couldn't tell the difference between the two. So the difference between the two is that Marketing Autopilot holds all of your lead nurturing tools, everything that's going to follow up with the lead, that allows you to follow up with the lead, anything that can track information about an existing contact. Lead Engine is, you can think about it as lead gen or lead generation. That section is going to contain all the tools to get you more contacts, to generate buyer-specific materials or seller-specific materials in order for you to attract more business for yourself. The Marketing Autopilot helps you nurture people you already have. So that's the difference between the two. Within Marketing Autopilot, I want to focus on behavioral automation for today's training. This lists out the hot behaviors that our system is built to focus on, because these are the 6 behaviors that you'll want to focus on as a realtor. So here's the list of the 6, and you have 2 toggle columns. This is how it's going to default when you first come in here. The first 4 statuses will be toggled on, and all of the agent alerts will be toggled on as well. You can come in here and toggle anything on or off as you wish. However, I wouldn't suggest to turn off the Sphere Prospect New or Active Lead statuses. Those are the 4 statuses that you'll want to keep the most eyes on. I also wouldn't suggest to turn off any of these alerts to yourself, but you can definitely if you wish. The second column shows all of the behaviors that you will get an alert for. So anyone in one of these 4 statuses that does one of these 6 actions will receive an email and a text based off of their behavior, and you'll be alerted as well. So 3 things happen. You'll receive an email saying, hey, Lauren favorited a property, or returned to your website after 2 weeks. That's the first action you'll receive. And then the next 2, I'm going to receive as your contact an email, which you can preview here. And these are merge tags. These auto fill out with the information when it sends. And you can also preview the text. So an email and a text are going to go to me because I revisited after 14 days or did something else on this list. And you'll also receive an alert. You can toggle off the alerts if you wish. Again, I don't recommend it. But the left-hand toggle must remain on in order for the lead to receive anything. So you can toggle all of your alerts off, and the lead will still receive the email and text. However, if you toggle the left-hand side off, nothing will go out to anyone. The lead won't receive anything based off of these behaviors, and you won't receive anything, even if this right-hand toggle is on. So the statuses must be turned on in order for anything to happen. It's a great way to keep an eye on the activity of specific contacts, to be able to focus your attention and your nurturing efforts to specific leads that deserve it or that need it, and let the system follow up on its own with any quote unquote dead or cold leads, and then you'll be alerted the moment they start generating activity again. It's a great way to narrow your focus, especially if you're working with a huge database of contacts. It's pretty straightforward. I don't see any questions about this section, so we'll move on down to lead engine. And again, lead engine contains all of your marketing tools. So I'm going to focus on 3. The first 2 being the landing page and the squeeze page tiles. These tiles are domain specific, so when you get in here and you want to create one, you would have to select your domain. It will show up here. There's not going to be a long list. You'll only be able to see yours. I have office admin permission up here, so I'll see everyone underneath my office, which is why I have this long old list that I have to choose from. But you'll choose yours, and you'll click Start Building. Before I do this, however, I want to explain the difference between landing pages and squeeze pages. They can work together, and in fact, they work best together, but they are different, and they do different things and can be used for different purposes. A landing page is its own standalone page. It is connected to your website, but it doesn't exist on your website. There's no tab or way to navigate to it from your website, and it has its own registration built into it. So on your website, you'll notice it as you tinker around on your website that after a property view or 2, a pop-up box will show up asking you to register if you're not already. A landing page is going to have the option to register, quote unquote, because it's going to ask you for your cell phone and email address within that actual page. So when I go to that builder tool, this is what it will look like. The only thing that is not editable on this page is this logo. So your company logo will appear right smack dab in the middle. It's unable to be edited, but everything else you can change. So you are able to add or remove any of these bullet points. Let me refresh real quick. Okay, here we go. So it'll originally show you 4. If you double click on them, you can remove them. Once you remove them and keep editing everything, make sure you definitely want to remove them, because once you remove them, you can't get them back unless you haven't touched anything else. So once I go in and make the rest of the edits, I won't be able to refresh them back. You're able to change this text. You can change the text of this button here by going up here and just typing it in. So click here now, and it's going to refresh and change the text. In landing type, you're able to choose the specific page type that you want. So the one that it defaults to is a buyer with an email and a cell phone capture. If you change it to address capture, it's only going to ask them for their physical address, and it's going to take them to your cell tab. So on your website, there's the cell tab up here, and if you click on it, it's going to take you to a valuation page where they can enter their address and get an estimated value. 2 things about this page. 1, this image is static. It's not always going to match the area that you're in. It's just an example of what the CMA looks like if they download it. And 2, the estimated value is computer generated from public data. It's not always going to be correct. It might be higher, it might be lower. The value and the point of this tool is to get them in communication with you. We do not want to replace you as the free-thinking human with all of the industry knowledge that you have. It's just to create a door of communication and start that relationship for you. That's really the whole point of kvCORE, is to nurture your leads to the point where you can take over. This tool does it a bit faster because once they see that value, if it's not correct or not what they were expecting, they might follow up with you and say, hey, why is this wrong? That is your golden opportunity to jump in and say, you know what? This is a computer-generated tool that I have on my website for free. And I would emphasize that free part, right? But you can keep on going and saying, I'm the agent, I have the knowledge, I have the industry information, and I've been in the industry for a while. Let me do an in-person walkthrough of your property and give you a solid value and take the relationship from there. So that's what this tool does. And if you choose the address capture landing page, that is where they're going to land after they put in their address. You have a couple of other options as well. Going back to the default, you can take them to a specific page. So like I said, this is a registration page. It has it built into it. You take this page or the URL to this page and market it out either on Facebook, Twitter, anywhere else you want. And they come to it, they land on it, they see the information, they register. It's great for showcasing a luxury listing or a listing that you just cannot seem to get rid of and you want out of your inventory. You can set it up for anything. You can change the background image. So if it is listing specific, I would change it to a custom background or the primary MLS image. And especially for specific listing landing pages, you'll want to take the URL to the listing details page on your website and plug it into this field so that after they put in their information, they go to the listing details page on your website. It's a great way to use this in tandem with squeeze pages. So we're going to jump to this tool now and get my domain in here and click Start Building. An IDX squeeze page is going to direct people to a property or list of properties on your website. And it's also going to allow your website's registration prompt to pop up and have the visitor fill out their info. So main difference between the two are landing pages have built-in registration. Squeeze pages send them to your website to let the website get the info for them. So if you are trying to market to people who want a specific price range or want a specific area, you can come in here, put in that search criteria just like they would be on your website, enter in the source. So are you going to market it on Facebook, Google, etc.? You can select a hashtag if you want to remember what squeeze pages are coming in off of. Would also recommend to putting in a hashtag from the landing page that they're coming in off of so you can see which efforts are doing better than the others. And then you'll create two links. You can generate link here. One's going to be long and one's going to be short. So if you have character limitations on where you're posting it, you'll have a long and a short one to choose from. And this is going to take the person who clicks on it to your website to either a list of matching properties, because this is multi-property, or to a single property, depending on which part of the tool that you use. So let's go back to our landing page. I'm creating a listing-specific landing page to advertise this luxury listing, and I want them to go to my website. I'm going to create a squeeze page or a squeeze link to that single property, and then put that property, put this squeeze link into this URL so that they go to that page after they register. Instead of just grabbing the URL from your website, there's two reasons why you want to use the single property squeeze page. One is that you don't have to search for the property in the first place on your website, try to find it. You can just plug in the MLS number in here and be done with it. You found it. Two is that you can delay registration. If you want the visitor to have the option after they get to this listing details page to view more, you can delay registration by one property, meaning they'd be able to click on this link and go to this property, and then they would be able to navigate away from that property and click into another one before the registration prompts them to put in their info. If you don't delay registration, it's going to prompt them while they're still looking at that first listing. So you have a couple of different options. You can just use this by yourself or by itself. You don't need to use a landing page every time. You can just create a link and then post it on Facebook, and Facebook pulls in one of the pictures from the MLS. It creates a nice little summary, which you are able to change the picture and the text, and you can post it as a regular post on Facebook. So these two tools are very helpful for multiple reasons. Doesn't look like we have any questions, so I'm going to wrap up here. Last little tile in the lead engine I wanted to point out is the bulk import. This bulk import option gives you two ways to import your leads. So if you haven't already, get your sphere of influence in here. You have two ways to do it. You can do it yourself. If you have the Excel file already prepped and ready to go, you can follow the instructions and import it. It's pretty straightforward, especially if you work well with Excel. Or if it's too much, you don't have time, you just don't want to do it, which is totally fine, there's a completely free option to send it to us. We have a specific lead configuration specialist team of agents that focus specifically on importing data for our agents. We do have a turnaround time of 3 business days. However, that is currently much faster. It's either same day or 2 business days. The only time we would have to push that out a little bit is if we needed to follow up with you for more information or answer any questions. So definitely take advantage of this if you're having any issues or just don't want to do it yourself. If you click Get Started, it's going to take you to a form that asks you to attach your file. It's going to ask you a couple of questions so we know exactly how you want your data imported. And it's also going to give you an open field to type out any questions or instructions that you need us to know about or answer prior to importing. So you do have this tool here. I know we are 1 minute until our ending time, so just real briefly, if we jump into this Web and IDX tab down here, there's a lot of functionality in here, but what I wanted to point out was this blogging section. Blog posts are a great way to draw organic visitors that may never see a Facebook ad or click on a Google ad that you're running, or people that are probably not interested at the time, but it's going to attract them so to keep you on their radar for down in the future when they do need to buy or sell. I would work my way up to 2 to 3 posts a week. You don't have to start out with that, especially if you don't like writing or you don't think you have any good ideas. Just sit down for 30 minutes at the beginning of each week or on the first of the month and brainstorm some ideas. They don't have to be long. Definitely do not need to be novels. They can include all sorts of images. You can link out to community vendors or community activities, a .gov site, any education sites that might be helpful. If you're trying to create original content to keep people on your website, you might think about tips and tricks from an insider's point of view, any legalities that might exist in your area of focus that you might just want to quick sum up in a paragraph to just like get it on people's radar, things like that. You have a lot of different options. Just don't copy and paste from someone else's blog post. You don't want to have an issue with them coming after you for copyright reasons. So this is a great tool. I'm happy. I don't know who it is. I'm happy to meet everyone today. I'm glad everyone was able to join today's training webinar. I do have the intermediate and advanced level trainings coming up within the next couple of days. Those will also be recorded, so please attend, but if you can't make it, you will have access to those in the future. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. I'll keep the chat open for the next 2 minutes to get any follow-up questions answered. But if you're going to hop off now, I'm glad I was able to meet you, and I hope you have a great day. Just as a reminder, if you need to view the recording for this webinar again, you'll want to reach out to your account's admin. They will be sent this recording once it's done processing later today. So tomorrow, I would say you would have access to it. Just ask them for the recording and they should be able to share it with you. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. Thank you.